Hey everyone, welcome back to YouTube classes. It's Divya here with class 11 practical physics. Okay, now see today in our video we are going to discuss a little bit theoretical part about your physics practical. Now when you come to your physics practical, I'll tell you see two parts you are having. Okay, so one is your electronic spark electrical experiments you are having, and one part you are having your optics experiment where you are having some experiments with your lenses. Okay, now in my practical videos I'll introduce you about the instruments to be used in the lab and what are their uses. Okay, so that you will get familiar with your equipments when you come to your practical lab when the school reopens. So to begin with, let us today see about the electrical circuit and symbols which you have already learned in your smaller classes. Let us recollect it. Okay, now in this class we will be seeing what is electrical circuit, what are the common symbols you are going to use it. Clear? Now, what are electrical circuits? Electrical circuits are made up of wires and different electrical parts or your electrical components. Okay. Now, one thing main you have to remember from your smaller classes is an electrical circuit should be a completely closed loop, which means that it has to be completely closed circuit, otherwise you will not get your results. That is what I mean, and this point you have to keep it in your mind. Now circuit diagram with all the components you are having, you are making it connecting it with your electrical wires, connecting wires, and you will make your necessary circuit using your circuit diagram according to the experiments you are having. Now you already know that in a circuit diagram which you are representing or drawing will be using electrical symbols, and these symbols you have already learned it in your smaller classes. We will recollect it here in the video. Okay. Before going into the electrical symbols, you should be very clear that sources of electric current you are having mainly two sources, your AC sources and your DC sources. AC stands for alternating current and DC stands for direct current. So it is very well demonstrated in the screen over here. That is, direct current is a current which flows only in a single direction. You can see it here, right? But AC current means it keeps on fluctuating. Or if you draw a direct current, how you will draw? Like this, isn't it? Now for an AC current, how will you draw it? Alternating current. So it keeps on altering. It will not be steady like your DC current. It is very well, you can see it on the screen, the difference between AC and DC current. Okay. Now let us recollect the circuit diagram symbols which you have already learned it in your smaller classes. Just I am going to recollect only. So on the screen I am going to show you the tabular column of the same thing. You just recollect it along with me. Now only symbols you are going to learn it in this class. So in the next class onwards, lab apparatus, how it looks in your lab apparatus, in the next video one by one I'll start explaining with its uses. So before that, when you get, you will not be getting the, you will be given the equipments there, but before that in your question paper you will be having the circuit diagram, and in that circuit diagram only symbols will be given. Now when you see the symbols, you should be able to identify what that equipment is. Now before I show you the instrument, you should make sure you are very thorough with your symbols. Okay. Now first one, electric cell, and in an electric cell the bigger line represents the positive end and the smaller line represents the negative end. And a battery, two or more cells connected together, you can tell it as a battery. Now then key and switches you are having, this is an open switch, this is a closed switch, and instead of switch you are having key also. If you have seen the symbol like this, it means that it is an open switch, and if the symbol you are going to see it like this, it means it is a closed switch. Okay, now you are having wire joined and wire crossing without joint. You are having the symbol of electric bulb over here. Now the remaining with whatever you are going to have starting from here, this is very important for your lab practicals now. Okay, so this is a resistance. So resistance only symbol you have to remember whenever you see the diagram. Now rheostat or variable resistance, it is very important. Ammeter, voltmeter, galvanometer. So these three are having a positive end and also a negative end. There are some measures how you have to connect this. All these I will explain when I come up with the instrumental videos. Okay, now for the time being, before I start with the instruments, make sure you are very familiar with your thorough with your electrical symbols. Those who those are not familiar with your smaller classes, make sure from this video you learn the symbols properly and get prepared for your practicals when the school reopens. With this, we are winding up today's portion. Thank you. Stay safe.